What does it mean to support a missionary? Is this even the best phrase for us to use? Now it makes sense. You have someone who's going into the field, another person is giving money to help support that work, and hence the term supporting a missionary. But I feel like this phrase could also be connected to a wrong way of looking at it. Let's look at that wrong way first. So you have the missionary who goes, the supporter who gives to the missionary, and the mission field. To use the word supporters for those who give financially can imply two things. First, the supporter wants to serve God and gives money to a missionary who probably feels awkward to ask others to give money to him. The missionary then goes to the field and participates in God's work. This illustrates that those who give money are not directly participating in missions themselves, and the funds that are given to the missionary. This wrong view cuts off the supporter from the mission field, making the missionary some kind of mediator between them and the mission. This can leave the missionary feeling like they're asking people to give to them like some kind of bait and switch, and not something that us missionaries are really all that into. Also, supporters in this view live in some kind of second class, as they aren't the people who are actually going. But how does the Bible describe giving to someone in ministry? Let's take a quick look. Old Testament first. In Numbers 18, God said to Aaron, "You and your sons and the Levites are in charge of caring for and serving in the tabernacle." And God goes on and tells Aaron in verse 8, "I myself have put you in charge of the offerings presented to me. All the offerings the Israelites give me, I give to you and your sons as your portion, your perpetual share." So the people are giving offerings to the Lord, which God then redirected and gave to those serving, Aaron and his sons. And Paul uses the Old Testament to ground his teaching in the New Testament in 1 Corinthians. "Don't you know that those who serve in the temple get their food from the temple, and that those who serve at the altar share in what is offered on the altar?" Sounds familiar, right? And he continues, "In the same way, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should receive their living from the gospel." Based on the format in the Old Testament, the idea here is that those who give funds to missionaries are giving to the Lord. Now those funds are used to provide for the needs of those who are preaching the gospel vocationally. That's the New Testament equivalent to priests and Levites, but they're offerings to God himself. So maybe there is a better way of putting it other than supporting a missionary. This biblical view of giving might be better described as a partnership. In this view, the one who gives and the one who goes are both participating in God's mission. One a partner, the other a missionary. The partner isn't giving money to the missionary, but offering their finances to God, and the partner is directly connected with God's work. Similarly, when raising funds, the missionary can have confidence that their task isn't to raise money for themselves, but to present opportunities for others to worship God through participating in his mission. To be sure, the money partners give go to missionaries that they might be able to go and serve, but the missionary isn't some kind of hero, and the partner isn't some kind of lowly helper. Both are equally needed in complementary ways, and both are called by God to mutually participate in the work of the gospel.